is QTV News coming to you live from our studios on Caraba Avenue, and I am Jenna Basonko. Thanks for joining us here at the main news headlines. We engaged the PRO of the Gambia Police Force about recent high-profile serious crimes reported in the Greater Banjul area. In a press statement, the Attorney General's Chambers and the Ministry of Justice say they have filed indictments against 3 senior officials from the Ministry of Health and Health Promotion and Development Organization in relation to the 2018 Global Funds grant allocated to the Gambia. Today, the 11th of October, marks the 11th commemoration of the International Day of the Girl Child. World Mental Health Day was commemorated on Tuesday by the Association for the Mentally Disabled Gambia in collaboration with the Ministry of Health and partners. And in international news, vote counting is underway in Liberia after the country went to the polls on Tuesday to choose their next president, as well as 73 legislators and 15 senators. Well, those were the main headlines, and now the news in detail. Do stay with us. So much for joining us. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV News, and I'm Jenna Basonko. Recently, there have been a series of high-profile serious crimes reported in the Greater Banjul area. This includes the shooting of police officers leading to 2 fatalities, the stabbing to death of someone, and an alleged gang attack on some communities. Mamadou Lamin Choi has been speaking to the PRO of the Gambia Police Force, who tells QTV that the police are on high alert and will respond swiftly to suspected crime. Here is that story.
Crime control and management are the job of the police as part of their mandate to enforce the law to protect lives and property. Over the past weekend, on Sunday, the police arrested suspects for allegedly operating gangs that unlawfully entered homes by assaulting, damaging property and terrorizing residents. This, according to the police, led to several community residents sustaining injuries and having their mobile phones stolen. The police initially arrested 7 suspects, including the alleged gang leader. However, following investigations, some of those arrested have been released for not being involved in the crimes, leaving 5 suspects in police custody.
People ganged up to cause chaos in Sinchusori in response to what they believe to be a revenge for some of their members who were attacked by gang members of Sinchusori. This happened between two different gangs. They call themselves a group from Sinchu Alaji and a group from Sinchusori. So the group from Sinchu Alaji is the one that went to attack a group of gang in Sinchusori.
What is unusual among these recent crimes are gang attacks, including one such crime committed at Sinchusori, which aroused the interest of the police for investigations.
We understand in the Gambia, what we used to know is that there are a group of people who would be aggrieved, maybe football and all that, they be having fights and all that. We know that. But when we talk about gang, the connotation is that, we want to establish that actually, whether it's really a gang. Because if it is a gang, the connotations usually is that these are people who are united together for a common goal, and that goal usually is criminal and criminal activities.
In addition to the suspected gang operation incident, another crime currently being investigated happened in Banjul last week, Wednesday. A man has been arrested for stabbing another man to death. The suspect fled the country but was later handed over to the Gambia police by their counterparts in Senegal. In the same week, on Saturday, during a police patrol search at Cape Point, a tourism area, the police arrested a man for alleged illegal possession of a pistol, leaving behind the driver who denied ownership of the firearm. According to the police, the primary suspect is still at large. Last month, at the Sukuta Jabang traffic light junction, a man shot 3 on-duty police officers, killing 2 and leaving 1 in a critical condition. Although these recent major crime incidents are not many, their seriousness has sparked alarm and prompted calls for greater security measures.
Since the incident that led to the murder of our colleagues, the Gambia Police Force is at full alert across the country, and we are not taking anything for granted. And for that reason, a lot is happening, a lot that under normal circumstances would be ignored is no more ignored.
Another attack on police officers occurred in February this year at Fast Jagachoy in Lower Nyomi district in the North Bank region. Armed robbers attacked a PIU checkpoint in the village, shot a police officer and fled with his rifle. These two incidents highlighted a threat to on-duty police officers and prompted debate on whether they need to be better equipped for their safety and that of the public.
The checkpoints are on the way, and we are doing everything to ensure that any suspicious move or movement or incident, the police are on the ground.
Peace and stability are significant and distinct traits of the Gambia, hence its reputation as the smiling coast of Africa. Investments and tourism, which are vital for our economy, require an atmosphere of peace and stability. Though we are unable to report whether there has been an increase in crime, what we can report on are recent serious crimes that could potentially breach and compromise peace and stability, with far-reaching consequences for the country and beyond its borders. Mohamed Lamin Choi, QTV News.
Unfortunate situations there. Now, in a press statement, the Attorney General's Chambers and the Ministry of Justice say they have filed indictments against 3 senior officials from the Ministry of Health and Health Promotion and Development Organization in relation to the 2018 Global Funds grant allocated to the Gambia. Aliu Sise has the rest of that.
According to the press release, the individuals charged are Mr. Mohamed Lamin Jaite, Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Health, Mr. Bala Kande, Program Manager of the Malaria Control Program, and Mr. Umar Male Sise, Executive Director of the Health Promotion and Development Organization. The charges in the indictment include a wide range of offenses, including official corruption, economic crimes, theft, forgery, and conspiracy, all of which are connected to the non-compliant utilization of the 2018 Global Funds grant allocated to the Ministry of Health of the Gambia. The Global Fund is one of the leading health financiers that provides grants to health bodies and ministries with particular focus on malaria, TB, and HIV. The Office of the AG Chambers and Ministry of Justice press release states the indictment serves as a significant step in the fight against corruption and the pursuit of justice and accountability within the public sector, particularly in relation to the proper and transparent utilization of public funds, end of quote. It further goes to state, following an audit exercise, the Attorney General's Chambers and the Ministry of Justice, in collaboration with the Gambia Police Force, conducted a thorough investigation into the allegations, ensuring that due process and the principles of justice were upheld throughout the process. The release concludes that the upcoming legal proceedings will provide an opportunity for all parties involved to present their cases, and the accused will be accorded their full legal rights and entitlements. The government reaffirms its commitment to ensuring a fair, transparent, and impartial legal process. The release ends. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliu Sise.
Now, today, the 11th of October, marks the 11th commemoration of the International Day of the Girl Child, set aside to raise awareness of the importance of girls' empowerment and highlight the challenges that girls face. More in this report. International Day of the Girl Child was adopted by the United Nations General Assembly on December 19, 2011. This year's theme, Invest in Girls' Rights, Our Leadership, Our Well-Being, highlights how adolescent girls have showed that if empowered, they have the potential to change the world. According to UNICEF, investing in girls' leadership means creating space and platforms for girls to raise their voices at every level of policy making, directly resourcing girls' movements and networks, and centering girls' voices, agency, and leadership in all programs. This is what Aji Umi Sonko thinks about women and girls' leadership.
I find we are getting protections from them. Yeah, they are giving us the due, especially when it comes to education and all those stuff. We can say a job well done to that. But okay, if you are investing on somebody to be educated, and at the end, when the person should climb that ladder, you are taking the person down. What is the essence of you educating the person?
Almost half of primary schools in least developed countries lack single-sex toilets, which greatly affects girls' attendance when they are on their periods. The Journal of Global Health report states that more than 500 million women and girls combined suffer period poverty. Period poverty is the lack of access to sanitary products, menstrual hygiene education, toilets, hand-washing facilities, or waste management. Abibatu Jallo shares her experience.
It was really hard. At first, I just kept everything a secret. Like there was a time that I went through, I was going through something. like I went through some problem
Yeah.
about my menstruation,
right.
but then I did not have anybody to talk to.
But then you were forced to say something.
Yeah, like it comes to a certain point that I was like, if I do not talk about this, then it's going to
can't be
be
solved.
yeah, it's not going to be solved. So I was like, I really have to talk about this. That was when I went to one of my friends and like talked to them, but still it was not helpful. But I think it was kind of like a little better, because through all those things, like the things that I went through at that time, it really taught me a lot of things that today I can reflect on. And I feel like if I also grow up, like I would also want to talk about those things to my children. Yeah.
The United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres on the Day of the Girl says, "Women and girls can lead us to a fairer future. Let us amplify girls' voices and recommit to working together to build a world where every girl can lead and strive." Marie Vitet shares her reflections on the Day of the Girl.
And I feel like cyberbullying is having its effect on girls our age. And I just want to say that don't believe everything you see on the media because there is a picture and a code next to it. Just try to be yourself and don't believe that what the world has to say or people around you, it's going to define you. Just know that be yourself and you'll make a change and there will be a change.
Unfortunately, some harmful traditional practices still persist. Female genital mutilation and child marriage rob girls of their childhood, health, and sometimes their lives. Girls subjected to FGM or married before childhood are at increased risk of birth complications, dropping out of school, and experiencing domestic violence. When girls are not healthy and educated, they are less likely to build a better future for themselves and their families. Reporting for QTV News, I am Jenna Basonko. Now, happy International Day of the Girl to all girls in the Gambia, and you can tune in on Youth Dialogue for more on that. We'll go for a short commercial break, and when we come back, we have some local international to stay with us.
waaw du gis ngeen daw si ba mu amee sikki sàkkane armante mi dañoo wecc ay cafkaam ba ñu ko ubbilee siwo bi ba xet gi dugg ko cam billahi la mu yëg bari na armante ñaar fukki at ak nangam ba mu ne cëpp ci réew mi ba tey mësula wecc doxalin mësula wecc cafka
bu leen ci am benn ñaari xel man mii di jaay lépp luy produit gi armante rek am naa ko am na 500 millilitres 1000 millilitres ak 5 kilos ba noppi nag am 750 ml bi nga xam ne mi ngi toj réew mi gis nga armante Eva Protect Milk bi mooy mos dolli te armante spaghetti bii ngay gis moo dàq ci spaghetti yi
gis nga armante bottom margarine bi noonu la gënee ci yow mi nga xamante ne yaa ngi jaay tàngane ci Johnson bi comme bi fi armante la dugal sa waa ñoddi sa kombe bi gis ngeen lii sardañ la da nga gis góobi jën bi dafa neex gis nga meew ko ndig mil bi armante ko fi indi moom mi dafa sakkan xoolal xale bi nu muy naanee banana milk bi gis ngeen flamingo oil bi dem leen ci bépp boutique bépp supermarket ci bépp marché
armante ki prodogam kenn mënu koo ceeñ
From October 7th to 14th, it's the flash sale. At Batimat, we like to surprise you with breathtaking discounts. Can you imagine? Discounts up to 80%. 80% off tiles, sanitary, electricity, and lighting. Take advantage of our discounts and make your dream project a reality. Don't wait any longer. The offer is valid for only 7 days. See you soon at Batimat. Batimat, welcome home.
Welcome back from that short commercial break. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV News, and I am Jenna Basonko. We're still on International Day of the Girl as UNICEF Gambia office partners today with other stakeholders to commemorate the day, bringing girls from different backgrounds to discuss issues affecting them. Momodu Gajaga was there and he fastened this report.
Under the theme, Invest in Girls' Rights, Our Leadership, Our Well-Being, this year's commemoration focuses on girls' empowerment initiatives such as education, health, and well-being. Some of the biggest challenges girls face, such as child marriage, gender-based violence, FGM, and online harassments, amongst others, were discussed. Adama Demba, the Deputy Speaker of the Children's National Assembly, says girls are often left out when it comes to decision-making.
Young girls are often left out when it comes to taking leadership portfolios. And also, this as a result, a lot of decisions which concerns us are taken by people who don't know what we go through. The importance of investing in leadership of girls cannot be overemphasized because they know exactly what they go through.
Educating girls is seen as important for empowering them to be among the decision makers and shapers of their own destiny. Our Mary Lo Khan, Executive Director of Woman Boss, says policymakers should be reminded about the importance of girls' education.
A day like today to remind especially policymakers, to remind community leaders, to remind community stakeholders the importance of investing in our young girls. Do you know that every time you educate a girl, there's more likely that they will also educate their children?
The Director of Children at the Ministry of Women, Gender and Social Welfare, Bintu Fati, and UNICEF representative Maria Victoria Bolota talks about how crucial policies of government will support girls' education and their rights.
There is an urgent need for increased attention and resource mobilization for the key areas that enable girls to realize their rights and achieve their full potentials in lives. Responding to girls' call for change, the global community, therefore, and development partners must move beyond reaffirming commitments and invest boldly in actions that's needed to make that change happen.
As UNICEF, we collaborated with all of you and Woman Boss and the ministry around a special theme for this year on well-being and leadership of the girls. But I have to say to you that this morning we received a communication from UNICEF saying that we may want to adapt a bit the theme of this year, taking into account what's going on in the world, and that many girls are actually victims of violence as we speak now.
In his statement marking this year's commemoration, UN General Secretary Antonio Guterres said, "Women and girls can lead us to a fairer future. Let us amplify girls' voices and recommit to working together to build a world where every girl can lead and thrive." Mamadou Gajaga, KTV News.
World Mental Health Day was commemorated on Tuesday by the Association for the Mentally Disabled Gambia in collaboration with the Ministry of Health and partners. The event was held at the Tanka Tanka Psychiatric Hospital in Salaji. Lamin Dabo has more.
The event began with a march past from the Mariama Kunda Johnson to the Tanka Tanka Psychiatric Hospital. The theme for this year is Mental Health is a Universal Human Right. Representing the Minister of Health, Yankuba Suare, from the Mental Health Program Unit, highlighted some of the steps taken by the ministry to strengthen addressing mental health issues in the country.
Some of achievements registered include the draft of a validation of new mental health bill, the ongoing training on mental health and psychosocial support at Gambia College School of Nursing in Banjul. More than 100 nurses were also trained on MHGAB across the country. Social workers were also trained on MHPSS, the activation and widening of this coverage of community mental health services, integration of mental health into general health care services.
Mamjara Mariga, a senior mental health nurse at the Ministry of Health, explains why mental health is important.
It's important that we know that mental health, or mental illnesses rather, are not vaccine-preventable illnesses or diseases, which means that we are all at risk of mental illnesses. Because considering the fact that we all have problems, family problems, social problems, including health, physical health problems.
Usman Cham is the representative from the University of the Gambia.
Let us use this day as a catalyst for change. Let us plead to break the silence, challenges, the stigmas, and promote mental health as an internal part of our well-being. Together, we can build a healthier and more compassionate society where every individual's mental health is valued and supported.
Mama A. Banja, a participant and member of the Association for the Mentally Disabled Gambia, sends this message to the youth of the country.
The majority of mental health people, it's the youth, the young people. So that's why the youth have to join hands together and work on this thing. We just don't have to stay and say that, okay, we are not part of it. Everybody should see themselves in it.
Bakari Kamara, the matron at Tanka Tanka Psychiatric Hospital, explains some of the challenges faced by the psychiatric hospital.
At the moment, we have 86 of patients we are seeing currently, and then it is always a challenge in regards of taking care of them because we have limited human resources and then material resources. And then the other one, again, people fail to understand when we are admitting patients here, they will always say, you come to Tangatanga, they deny our patients. No, we are not here for that. We don't deny anybody. But then we also want the protocol should be respected. Because you cannot just go in the street and catch someone. In the end, you handcuff that individual, you bring that person to Tangatanga Street. No, no way.
Experts say mental health affects all of us, regardless of age, gender, socio-economic status or background, and that it is a universal concern that should unite us in our efforts to create a more compassionate and inclusive society. For QTV News, I am Lamin Alaifandin Dabo.
Let's therefore safeguard our mental health. Now from that story, let's take a look at what is happening beyond our borders. Vote counting is underway in Liberia after the country went to the polls on Tuesday to choose their next president, as well as 73 legislators and 15 senators. The counting is expected to take a few days, as in the presidential poll. To avoid a runoff, the winner must secure over 50% of votes cast. The story by Momodou Mbodj is narrated by Lena E. Igwinyiba.
About 2.5 million Liberians registered to vote in a country of 5 million. Turnout was high, according to election officials. Voting was calm and orderly, and no major incident occurred at various voting centers, said a team of observers from ECOWAS. The EU, AU, and US had also deployed observers. However, logistical problems were reported, such as voters waiting for hours to cast their ballot, materials delayed by flooding in a couple of counties, and ballots transported by canoes that capsized. In affected areas, voting was extended, according to the National Elections Commission. Still, many saw the peaceful vote as a success. One voter in the capital, Monrovia, says, "I feel relieved today. I want to see development here. If we have good leaders, we will not be suffering." Another says, "I want peace. All our past leaders have come and failed us. We have suffered too much." 20 presidential candidates are on the ballot, but the race is essentially a rematch from 2017 between the 57-year-old incumbent George Weah of the Coalition of Democratic Change (CDC) party and the 78-year-old former Vice President Joseph Boakai of the Unity Party (UP). Weah, after casting his ballot in Monrovia, says, "I have asked the Liberian people for a second-term mandate, and that is why we have come here." He had campaigned on needing more time to fulfill his promise to rebuild the nation's broken economy, institutions, and infrastructure. He had faced criticism from the opposition and some donor countries for not doing enough to tackle corruption and failing to keep his 2017 pledges during his first term. However, last year he fired his chief of staff and 2 other senior officials after the US sanctioned them for corruption. The main challenger, Joseph Boakai, campaigned under the slogan "Rescue," claiming that the country had gone downhill during Weah's first 6 years in office. Although campaigning went mostly peacefully, sporadic clashes had broken out between supporters of rival parties, which had left many people injured and at least 2 dead. This had prompted the UN and others to express concerns over election-related violence. However, the initial processes on Election Day had been peaceful, one observer said. The Elections Commission has 15 days from the day the votes were cast to announce the results. If none of the candidates wins more than 50% of the vote, a runoff will be held on 7th November. In 2017, President Weah secured 61% of the vote in a runoff. The Elections Commission urged voters to remain calm after voting and wait for official results to prevent disturbances. Reporting for QTV News, I am Lena E. Gwenyiba.
That is all we have time for, but let's recap our main headlines before we leave. We engaged the PRO of the Gambia Police Force about recent high-profile serious crimes reported in the Greater Banjul area. In a press statement, the Attorney General's Chambers and the Ministry of Justice say they have officially filed indictments against 3 senior officials from the Ministry of Health and Health Promotion and Development Organization in relation to the 2018 Global Funds grant allocated to the Gambia. UNICEF's Gambia office with partners today commemorated the 11th International Day of the Girl Child. World Mental Health Day was commemorated on Tuesday by the Association for the Mentally Disabled Gambia in collaboration with the Ministry of Health and partners. And in international news, vote counting is underway in Liberia after the country went through the polls on Tuesday to choose their next president as well as 73 legislators and 15 senators. Well, that is all we have for you in this edition of QTV News. Do not forget to tune in at 10 p.m. for another bulletin. Thanks for watching and enjoy the rest of our programs.